Transfer deadline day is around the corner and Arsenal fans are getting very nervy as rumours of a new goalkeeper and new forward hit the headlines. Today we'll break down all the breaking news regarding the goalkeepers, find out about a surprise player that Arsenal made a move for, discuss the forward targets on Arsenal's radar, revealing which forwards that Arsenal have been offered, and get all the breaking team news ahead of the massive game against Brighton. Yo, what is going on, guys? My name is Bass14. Welcome back to your boys channel, and as we approach transfer deadline day and so many things are happening, don't forget to smash a like on the video if you enjoy and subscribe to the channel if you are new. We're starting off with the goalkeeping movements, with the first man we have to talk about being Ramsey. After a whole summer of being linked with a transfer move away, no longer the Arsenal #1 with David Raya in his place now. Despite Arsenal looking for a loan deal, they have got their permanent move. With Fabrizio confirming Ramsey to Southampton, here we go. A deal in place after their first official bid. The fee of £24 to £25 million agreed with Arsenal. We've now got another report confirming medical test for Ramsey today as he completes his deal as a new Southampton player. For a player that Arsenal signed for £28 million back in 2021, selling him for £3 million less is actually a loss. For a player still under a long-term contract and 26 years of age, coming into Arsenal and becoming an England international, there is one part of the deal we have to also discuss. As Ramsey reports, Arsenal also have a sell-on clause. This has become a trademark Richard Garlick move. Arsenal's chief negotiator putting in a sell-on clause. That's because Ramsey are going to a club that's just been newly promoted. There's a very good chance that he can leave them very soon. Maybe go to a club fighting for European places, demand a lot higher than £25 million, allowing Arsenal to bank even more money. It brings to an end an Arsenal career that has been so eventful, from signing in 2021 when no one believed in him, then quickly becoming a fan's favourite, named the PFA Goalkeeper of the Year for 2022-23. We've gone from Champions League football to fighting for a title. Ramsey was a massive part of that. While I still believe that David Raya is a clear improvement, there's no denying that fans had a clear connection to Ramsey. Always passionate in the celebrations and never scared to hold back. I'm definitely going to miss his S-housery towards the rival fans. But we look at the recent England squad announcement, including both Arsenal's Bukayo Saka and Declan Rice, but no Ramsey. Especially with Jordan Pickford getting to the age now where he's making mistakes. A good season at Southampton could see Ramsey's stock skyrocket. But in terms of Arsenal and the replacement, the one player that comes straight to mind is Garcia. Espanyol's 22-year-old Spanish youth international. A Fabrizio Romano exclusive confirmed that Arsenal had submitted a €20 million package to sign the player as the prime replacement for Ramsey, with his agents bringing the proposal towards Espanyol. They were still asking for €30 million instead. Garcia has agreed terms with Arsenal and wants to move to the Emirates. What Arsenal were doing here was one out and one in. £25 million in for Ramsey, then reinvesting that straight into Garcia, potentially very highly rated by Inaki Kana, who's in charge of the Arsenal goalkeepers and was a key part of David Raya moving to the Emirates Stadium. A look into its stats show a very promising keeper, very high post-shot XG, with a standout feature being his crosses stopped, a whopping 16.1%, the highest in all of Europe. But as Ryan Taylor confirmed, sources close to Garcia do not consider the Arsenal move a formality. His reps are prepared to broker a deal, but there is a concern about the shortage of time. Arsenal therefore may have to meet the release clause, with Garcia starting against Atletico Madrid, in a game that he went on to drop a man of the match performance with an 8.1 rating, keeping a clean sheet with 7 saves and a 1.36 goals prevented. You could see straight away the potential that Arsenal see, but at the same time, time is of the essence. Even if they see Garcia as a long-term right replacement, that €30 million is never going to be paid. That's where we got a surprise move out of nowhere. A Gunner blog exclusive confirming Arsenal are exploring a deal to sign Neto from Bournemouth, as talks of a Garcia are stalling, with Espanyol currently refusing to budge over Garcia's €30 million release clause. Having recently signed Kepa Arrizabalaga on a season-long loan, Neto has been made available. A player with a vast amount of Premier League experience, but also a know-how of doing it well. Lastly, ranking in the top 5 in terms of goalkeepers' goals prevented, a former player of Valencia and also Brazilian, with a direct link to Edu Gaspar. He is a player that Arsenal had been linked to in the past, meaning the interest definitely has value. As Peter Rook reports, Arsenal are now advancing in talks to sign Neto from Bournemouth to replace Ramsey. In my eyes, this deal makes even more sense. Garcia definitely has far more potential and for the long term could be the better move. But with us now being in the final end of the transfer window, signing Neto on a short-term deal until the end of the season, not only do we get an experienced replacement for Ramsey, but also money to spend elsewhere, invest in more important areas. We've now also got a David Ornstein bomber, confirming that Arsenal have reached an agreement with Bournemouth to sign the goalkeeper Neto, a deal for the 35-year-old as a season-long loan with no buy option or obligation. Medical on deadline day as Arsenal line up the #2 for Raya, after Ramsey's exit and a struggle to get Garcia. So moving on to the forward developments. With the arrival of Mikel Merino and Ricardo Calafuri, Arsenal have definitely strengthened. But the one area that fans are still craving the most is of course the forward. So with Eddie Nketiah on his way to Crystal Palace, with Fabrizio confirming that Arsenal and Palace are prepared to sign all documents, Arsenal are getting a £25 million fixed fee with £5 million in add-ons. According to Sammy Mokbel, Eberitse Eze was key in Nketiah's move to Palace, using his strong relationship to make Nketiah choose Palace over Forest. After playing 168 games for Arsenal with 38 goals scored, spending a whopping 9 years at the Emirates Stadium, Nketiah won't go down as a cult hero, but at the same time we have to appreciate his value. Not only giving Arsenal clear profit on FFP, but in the recent years with injuries to Gabriel Jesus and a Paul Alexander Lacazette, when given time and consistent minutes, Eddie has always stepped up. A player that's only been injured once in his entire career with a great attitude and great work ethic. We've all seen that famous clip alongside Albert Samuel Lokonga. The mentality of Eddie Nketiah can never be questioned. Those goals against Chelsea at Stamford Bridge, and the infamous win against Man United will never be forgotten. But with the whopping £50 million that were in the bank after the sales of Ramsey and Nketiah, alongside the departure of Emil Smith Rowe and plenty of sell-on clauses, Arsenal have nearly recouped £100 million. Vieira allowed to go on loan, Smith Rowe allowed to leave, and Nketiah gone as well. Arsenal are losing players that made a total of 72 appearances last season. That means there that it's inevitable that Arsenal need to go and sign a forward. So let's talk about Ivan Toney. Closing into a reported move to Saudi Arabia after being left out of the Brentford squad, we then had a surprise report from Franz Fletcher out of nowhere, saying Arsenal have had talks with the agents of Ivan Toney, and Arsenal are seriously considering a £50 million offer. But the interest on the player side has always been there, going on to an interview and saying that Arsenal is one of his favourite clubs, almost confirming that his dream is to play at the Emirates Stadium. It's always been Arsenal and if they want to make the move. Reports in the window earlier claiming Mikel Arteta did have a meeting with Toney but didn't quite like the player. Reaching a desperate stage at the window, I wonder if Arsenal have changed their mind, wanting to sign a player to give us a profile that could thrive alongside Gabriel Martinelli and Bukayo Saka, even play alongside Kai Havertz. According to Fabrizio Romano, they are still feeling that Arsenal could do something for a winger instead, but it's important to understand first of all what happens to Reiss Nelson. If there is a club in the final 2 days prepared to sign him, in that case for Arsenal it would be an opportunity to bring in one more player. At this late stage of the transfer window, I don't see Arsenal getting the number one targets. The likes of Nico Williams are definitely staying at Atletico Bilbao. The question then becomes about opportunities, and the one that stands out straight away is Kingsley Coman, who, as Dharmesh Sheth of Sky Sports confirmed, an unnamed Premier League club have explored the conditions to sign Kingsley Coman, and it looks like that club was Arsenal. Alex Kriff confirming Bayern Munich winger Kingsley Coman has been offered to Arsenal, with Bayern keen to get Coman off their wage bill. Arsenal would consider bringing in another wide player before the transfer deadline, with even the reliable Sammy Mokbel saying Arsenal have explored a suit for the Bayern Munich winger. In a market of the opportunities, this is the most tempting. The idea of giving Arsenal more pace and technical quality, and an immense upgrade on the likes of Reiss Nelson and Eddie Nketiah. He wouldn't be a guaranteed start, but he wouldn't need to be either. With the likes of Leandro Trossard and Gabriel Martinelli, Gabriel Jesus also able to play out wide, Coman would be an added profile on top of that, giving us a lot more pace to utilise off the bench, hit teams on the counter-attack and be lethal in transition. The major issue of course could be the wages though, on a reported £300,000 a week at Bayern Munich, alongside being chased by clubs in Saudi Arabia. Arsenal will not be offering those types of wages, so will he be willing to take a wage cut? But reaching this stage of desperation, there's one more player that we need to discuss that I know it's going to be controversial. Raheem Sterling available from Chelsea. As confirmed the reliable teams and ticks, Raheem Sterling has also been offered to Arsenal. With the player willing to take a pay cut, his situation at Chelsea is incredibly messy, and it would be a very tricky deal to do. With further reports claiming that Arsenal do not want to pay a fee, all things are pushing towards the fact that if this is to happen, Chelsea would have to terminate the player's contract. The fact that Sterling was seen at the Arsenal training ground only a few days ago means that Arsenal have definitely had some level of discussions. He is a player of course who worked under Mikel Arteta to a very high degree. In the year of 2019 he was only behind Lionel Messi in terms of goal involvements. And according to Fabrice Hawkins, Chelsea are pushing to sell Raheem Sterling to Arsenal in order to facilitate their move for Jadon Sancho. Now I can totally understand why so many Arsenal fans are against this, but let me put it this way to you. If signing a Premier League forward who has 4 Premier League titles, can play on both the left and right hand side, offering Arsenal pace that we need on top of Gabriel Martinelli, that at 29 years of age has a bagload of experience, has worked under Mikel Arteta in the past and is willing to take a pay cut, is that the worst loan move possible? Would he not be an upgrade on the likes of Reiss Nelson for a guy that scored 8 goals in the league last year in 22 starts? That's actually more than Gabriel Martinelli. Sterling is not the number one choice and he's not going to be our long-term solution. But the idea that for a one-off season he wouldn't improve our squad, for me is a complete lie. Moving on to the other Arsenal news today, starting off with the 2 draws in the cup competitions. In terms of the Carabao Cup, Arsenal have been drawn against Bolton Wanderers of League One and a tie at the Emirates Stadium. That's the game I'm looking at Mikel Arteta towards Miles Skelly and Ethan Nwaneri. As much as Arsenal need to attack every competition this season, I also want to see Mikel Arteta be brave in these games and play the young players. Show the level of trust that we were seeing in pre-season. The fact that we've let Fabio Vieira go without any massive replacements, it's a show of faith for Mikel Arteta and Ethan Nwaneri. But more importantly, let's talk about the Champions League draw. In a brand new format with the group stage scrapped, we will now see a league of 36 in the Champions League, with Arsenal having 8 games against 8 different sides. From pot 1 we've drawn PSG and Inter Milan, then Shakhtar and Atalanta from pot 2, Zagreb and Sporting Lisbon from pot 3, alongside Monaco and Girona from pot 4. The way it's going to work is the fact that you have 36 teams in a massive table. The top 8 teams are going to qualify directly for the last 16, with the 16 teams below that fighting for the last 32, and the bottom 12 teams getting relegated. The standout draw, of course, is the San Siro away against Inter Milan, with 2003 being Arsenal's last game there, a 5-1 victory in the year that Arsenal won the Premier League title. But for now, our focus needs to be on the Premier League, with a massive game against Brighton approaching this weekend. Here was our new boy Mikel Merino in full first team training, available to start and make his debut at the Emirates Stadium. As the Gunner Block confirms, Arsenal hope Mikel Merino can be the midfielder that Kai Havertz was intended to be, and the club have talked to the player filling what is still occasionally referred to as a Xhaka role. Arsenal believe Merino can cover as a 6 if required, but the direction of the travel appears the midfield three of Declan Rice, Merino and Martin Odegaard. 6'3" and a dual winning machine. I do believe that some Arsenal fans are going to be caught off guard with how graceful Merino is on the ball and how comfortable he is in dribbling. He has got that Paul Pogba type of build to himself. Massive in height but also graceful on the ball. But in terms of this game, here's what I expect for Arsenal's lineup. With Raya and goal with White, Saliba, Gabriel, Tip in the back 4, Rice, Partey and Odegaard in midfield, and a front three of Saka, Havertz and Leandro Trossard. With a goal off the bench against Aston Villa, I believe Trossard is going to get a start, not only to reward a player that was impactful off the bench, but also give Gabriel Martinelli a kick up the backside. In terms of the opponents himself, Brighton currently are second in the Premier League, winning their first 2 games under their brand new manager Fabian Husler. After a summer of spending €230 million, the players that we have to watch out is of course Matoma and Minte. That's why I've gone for Timber over Zinchenko, with the likes of Calafiori and Kivio off the bench. A key part for this year is going to be our rotation, with Saliba and Gabriel both playing over 3,000 minutes last year. If Arsenal's aim is to fight in every single competition, Mikel Arteta will have to show the trust in his other players, not be scared to throw them in certain games. This will be a tricky game as Arsenal try to make it 3 wins in a row. That is the video there and there. Those hopefully you guys have enjoyed. If you have, don't forget to smash a like and also subscribe to the channel if you are new. If you want to follow your boy on all other social medias, then the links are down below in the description. But that was the latest episode of the Transfers FC as we approach a very nervy transfer deadline day. The question is, who are Arsenal going to sign, which I hope is someone, because if we don't, I dread to see the meltdown. So as per, stay tuned as always and we'll see what happens. Take care and have